Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go!
I pulled my suitcase through the crowded terminal and tried to shake off the stress that had been clinging to me for months. My husband walked beside me, his construction boots replaced with sneakers for once. We've been planning this trip for over a year, scraping together money whenever we could. Between my endless days at the insurance office and his brutal early mornings on job sites, we barely saw each other anymore. This cruise was supposed to fix that. The ship was huge, genuinely overwhelming. The moment we stepped on board, we were surrounded by families. Kids running past us with pool floaties, parents juggling luggage and strollers. The timing made sense. Thanksgiving week meant every school in the country was closed. The cruise line clearly knew their audience too. I spotted the arcade almost immediately, tucked near the pool deck with flashing lights and loud music. Down one hallway, a massive banner advertised the supervised kids zone. The water slides visible from the upper deck were enormous, twisting around the ship's exterior like colorful serpents. We smiled at the families we passed. Good for them, honestly. Everyone deserved a vacation. But I felt a quiet thrill knowing we had our escape route. $600 extra had bought us access to the thermal spa. Adults only. The website had been very clear about that. Heated stone loungers, aromatherapy rooms, a crystal steam room, a sanctuary where we could actually hear ourselves think. My husband wanted to wait until day 3 before visiting. Let ourselves settle in first, he said. Enjoy the regular amenities. I agreed, though part of me wanted to rush straight there the moment we unpacked. When we finally walked through those frosted glass doors on the third morning, I felt something release in my chest. The lighting was soft and golden. Instrumental music drifted from somewhere I couldn't see. The air smelled incredible, like eucalyptus, mixed with lavender. I changed into my swimsuit in the pristine locker room and wrapped myself in one of the thick robes they provided. My husband headed for the heated loungers while I explored. The crystal steam room left my skin feeling amazing. The aromatherapy room had this gentle mist that smelled like chamomile. I stood there for 20 minutes, just breathing, feeling the tension drain from my shoulders. Eventually, I found my husband in the main relaxation area. He was stretched out on a heated lounger near the small pool, eyes closed, completely still. I'd never seen him look so peaceful. I claimed the lounger next to him and closed my eyes. The heated stone pressed against my back. The only sounds were soft music and the gentle bubbling of the pool. Then I heard shuffling. I opened my eyes. Across the pool area, a kid was climbing on one of the loungers, maybe 6 or 7 years old. Wet hair, swim trunks. He rolled from his back to his stomach, kicked his legs, squirmed around like staying still was physically painful for him. Next to him, a man was sprawled out with a towel draped over his face, arms crossed, either deeply asleep or doing a convincing impression of it. The kid slid off the lounger and walked to the edge of the pool. He dragged his hand through the water, making ripples. Then he went back to the lounger and climbed on it again, this time lying on his stomach and dangling one arm off the side. He wasn't screaming or throwing things, but his presence completely destroyed the atmosphere. The whole point of this space was peace. The whole point was no children. That's what we paid for. I looked at my husband. His eyes were open now. His jaw was tight. $600, his expression said. Before I could get up, an attendant appeared. Young woman in the spa uniform. She approached the sleeping man with a polite smile and bent down slightly. Attendant, excuse me, sir. This is an adults-only facility. You'll need to take your child to one of the family areas. The man lifted the towel off his face and squinted at her, like he'd just woken up from surgery. Man. Oh, right. He sat up slowly and looked around for the kid who had moved to a different lounger and was now swinging his legs. Before the man could even stand, a woman rushed in from one of the side rooms. Wet hair, robe on. She must have been in the steam room. She went straight to the kid and grabbed his hand. Woman, well, apparently they don't want you in here, so I guess we all have to leave now. Her voice was loud, dripping with sarcasm. She looked around the room, making eye contact with several of us like we were personally responsible for ruining her day. Kid, I wasn't doing anything wrong. Woman, I know, sweetie. Some people just don't like children. My husband sat up completely. An older woman near the crystal room entrance looked genuinely shocked. The attendant kept her professional smile, though I could see the strain behind it. Attendant, ma'am, this facility is clearly marked as adults only. It's listed at the entrance and in all our promotional materials. There are many wonderful family-friendly areas throughout the ship. The woman ignored her completely. She gathered their towels and bags with exaggerated movements. Woman, come on, let's go find somewhere we're actually welcome. She swept out with a kid in tow. The man followed behind them looking vaguely embarrassed, but not enough to actually apologize to anyone. The attendant turned to the rest of us. Attendant, I'm so sorry about that. Please let us know if you need anything. She disappeared. The room settled back into quiet, but it felt different now, broken. I kept replaying her words. Some people just don't like children. Like we were monsters for wanting to enjoy the space we'd explicitly paid extra for. The ship had an arcade, a kids zone with trained staff, 2 massive water slides, bumper cars, a dozen places designed specifically for children, but she chose to bring her kid into the one space that wasn't for them, and then acted like we were the problem. I stayed another hour determined to get my money's worth, but I couldn't fully relax. I kept expecting them to come back, or for another family to wander in testing the rules. That night, my husband and I agreed we'd visit the spa only during early mornings for the rest of the cruise. Hopefully, entitled parents would be too busy with breakfast to invade our expensive sanctuary. I graduated in June and moved back in with my parents. Landing a job in the area meant I could save money while living at home until January, when I planned to get my own apartment. My girlfriend had been living with her mom across the country. We'd been making the long-distance relationship work, but things changed when her mom gave her an ultimatum: go back to college or move out. My girlfriend chose to leave school. She didn't think it was the right path for her anymore, and I supported that decision. The problem was, she had nowhere to go. I'd already asked her to move into my future apartment with me, but that wasn't happening until January. She needed to leave her mom's place much sooner than that. We decided to ask my mom if my girlfriend could stay with us temporarily, just for a couple months until we got our own place. My mom agreed right away. She didn't hesitate or ask for rent money. She'd never charged me rent when I lived there either. Her only requirements were that we clean up after ourselves and be respectful. We both promised we would. My girlfriend arrived right after Halloween. Everything went smoothly at first. She felt uncomfortable not contributing anything financially, so she started offering to cook dinner for the whole family. My mom kept telling her she didn't need to do that, but my girlfriend insisted. She's actually a really talented cook, much better than my mom, honestly. About a week after she moved in, my girlfriend wanted to make a specific dish, but we were missing some ingredients. My mom handed her the credit card and told her to pick up whatever she needed. After that, it became routine. My girlfriend would go to the store, grab ingredients for dinner, and also pick up other things the household needed. Everyone seemed happy with the arrangement. Then my girlfriend started making more frequent trips to the store. She'd go multiple times a week instead of just once. She came home with expensive items, steaks, fresh seafood, imported cheeses, stuff my family never normally bought. I didn't really think about it at the time. The meals she was making were incredible, and everyone was eating well. On Sunday, my mom asked my girlfriend to please get everything she needed in one shopping trip from now on. My girlfriend agreed. I assumed that conversation was over. Monday night came around. We'd just finished eating dinner. My girlfriend and I were sitting at the table talking while my mom washed dishes. My girlfriend mentioned she wanted to make steak on Thursday. Me: that sounds really good. Girlfriend: I'll need to run to the store to get the steaks though. I turned toward my mom at the sink. Me: can you give her the card? My mom stopped washing dishes. She turned around slowly. Mom: no. Me: what do you mean no? Mom: I already gave her money to go shopping on Sunday. I told her to get everything she needed then. My girlfriend's expression changed instantly. She looked down at the table and went quiet. Mom, we can't afford steaks for everyone this week. There are 6 people in this house. Maybe you could make them for Christmas dinner instead. My jaw clenched. I could feel my face getting hot. Mom, if you want to keep cooking for us, which I do appreciate, I'm going to need to put you on a budget. I should have done this sooner. I'm sorry I didn't. My girlfriend looked like she was about to cry. I felt anger building in my chest. This was humiliating for her. That night, I went to find my mom alone. I needed to talk to her about what happened. Me, you embarrassed her. She was just trying to be nice. Mom, I appreciate her cooking dinner for us, but she's doing it on my dime, and I can't afford it anymore. Me, did you have to say all that in front of her? Couldn't you have pulled her aside? Mom, I'm sorry she felt embarrassed, but this needed to be addressed. Me, I can give her money if it's such a problem. Mom, you're free to do that. Me, we're only going to be here a few more weeks. Can't you just let your guest be happy? Mom, she's not a guest. She's living here, and I'm happy to have her, but I have a budget I need to stick to. Me, she's been cooking for the entire family every single night. She's saving you time and effort, and you're complaining about grocery costs? Mom, I never asked her to cook every night. I told her it wasn't necessary. She insisted on doing it. Me, she feels bad about not paying rent. Mom, then she can feel less bad. I don't want her cooking if it means going over budget every week. My girlfriend was trying so hard to contribute and be helpful, and my mom was treating her like a burden. Me, fine. We'll figure it out ourselves. I went back to our room. My girlfriend had been crying. Girlfriend, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize I was spending too much. Me, don't apologize. This is ridiculous. She invited you to stay here. Girlfriend, maybe I should just stop cooking. Me, don't let her make you feel bad about this. The next morning, my mom knocked on our door. She came in holding an envelope. Mom, I did some calculations last night. You spent $873 on groceries in 3 weeks. That's more than I spent in 2 months for the entire household. She handed me the envelope. Inside were printed receipts, every single one. Mom, I don't charge rent. I don't ask for much, but this is excessive. If you want to continue living here until January, this has to stop now. She walked out. My girlfriend looked mortified. $873. I had no idea it was anywhere near that much. I didn't have that kind of money to give her back. I just started my job and was trying to save for our apartment deposit. My girlfriend stopped cooking after that. She barely left our room. The atmosphere in the house became unbearable. My mom didn't mention it again, but the tension was suffocating. We ended up leaving 2 weeks early. We found a month-to-month rental that cost way more than we could afford. My girlfriend eventually found a job, but between rent and bills, we're constantly struggling financially. I'm still angry at my mom. She could have handled the situation so much better. She didn't need to humiliate my girlfriend like that. We were only going to be there a few more weeks anyway. I bought this house because of the pool. My son had always loved swimming, and after his dad died, I needed something that would help him smile again. He was 8 when we lost his father, and watching him grieve was one of the hardest things I'd ever experienced. The pool changed everything. He'd wake up on Saturday mornings asking if he could swim before breakfast. He practiced his dives until his lips turned blue, and I'd have to bribe him with hot chocolate to come inside. Last Saturday should have been a good day. I planned a barbecue and invited some neighbors and a few people from work. Nothing elaborate, just burgers, some cold drinks, and good company. My son had been counting down the days because I told him he could invite 2 friends over. By 11 in the morning, all 3 boys were in the pool racing each other and diving for rings at the bottom. I'd invited my co-worker because we've been grinding through a difficult project together for the past 2 months. I thought it would be nice to talk about something other than deadlines. She asked if she could bring her sister along, and I said sure. I didn't think twice about it. That was my mistake. They showed up around 1:30. My co-worker seemed normal, apologizing for being a bit late, but her sister stepped out of the car wearing white linen pants and a matching top that looked like she'd just come from brunch at some upscale restaurant. The first thing out of her mouth was a complaint about how hot it was. Then she noticed the pool. Sister, I thought it would be bigger. Me, it's the perfect size for us. The kids love it. Sister, I suppose it's fine if someone can't afford anything larger. I felt my jaw tighten, but I forced a smile. My coworker looked mortified. She mumbled an apology, but her sister just walked past us to grab one of the lounge chairs. For the next 20 minutes, she sat there scrolling through her phone and making comments under her breath. The music was too loud. Someone's kid was splashing too much. The bugs were annoying. I tried to focus on grilling and ignore her. The boys were having the time of their lives. They were playing a game with a diving ring, seeing who could retrieve it the fastest. Their laughter echoed across the yard, and honestly, it made me happy. Other guests were scattered around the patio, eating and chatting. Nobody seemed bothered by the noise except for her. I was flipping burgers when I heard her voice get sharp. I turned around and saw her standing at the edge of the pool staring down at my son. He'd just surfaced with a ring in his hand, water streaming down his face. My son, did I splash you? I'm sorry. Sister, you've been making noise for the past 30 minutes. Some people are trying to relax. My son looked at me confused. I put down the spatula and walked over. Me, the kids are just playing. They're not bothering anyone. Sister, they're bothering me. This is supposed to be an adult gathering, not a daycare. My coworker rushed over, her face red. Coworker, I'm so sorry. She's had a really rough week. Let me talk to her. I could feel other guests starting to watch. The sister stepped closer to the pool. My son was still in the water, holding onto the edge, looking up at her with wide, uncertain eyes. Sister, maybe you need to cool off your attitude. Before I could react, she reached down and shoved his shoulders hard. His hand slipped off the edge, and as he fell backward, his head slammed against the concrete lip of the pool. The crack echoed in my ears. Everything went silent except for the splash when he went under. I dropped everything and ran. My coworker screamed. I jumped into the pool and grabbed my son, pulling him up. Blood was pouring down the side of his head, mixing with the water and turning it pink. He was conscious but dazed, his eyes unfocused. My son? Mom? His words came out slurred. I yelled for someone to call 911. One of the neighbors already had his phone out. Another neighbor brought towels. My coworker was sobbing, trying to pull her sister away from the pool. The sister just stood there, her face pale. Sister, it was an accident. I didn't mean for that to happen. He was being disrespectful. Me? You pushed a child into a pool. I pressed a towel against his head, trying to stop the bleeding. He started crying, which actually gave me some relief because it meant he was alert. The paramedics arrived within 8 minutes. They stabilized his neck and got him onto a stretcher. The cut was deep, and they said he might have a concussion. Paramedic, can you tell me what happened? I explained quickly, my voice shaking. I rode in the ambulance with my son, holding his hand the entire way. My son, am I going to be okay? Me, you're going to be fine, sweetheart, I promise. 2 police officers had shown up at the house before we left. Several neighbors were already talking to them, describing what they'd seen. My coworker was trying to explain that her sister hadn't meant for it to be serious. The sister was arguing with the officers, insisting she barely touched him. At the hospital, they took my son back immediately. I waited in the emergency room, my clothes still damp from the pool, my hands trembling. A nurse came out after 20 minutes and said they were doing a scan to check for serious injuries. When the doctor finally came out, he said my son needed stitches. They brought me back to see him. He looked so small on that hospital bed. They stitched up his head right there. 12 stitches total. The doctor said he was lucky. A few inches to the left, and the injury could have been much worse. He had a mild concussion, but no fractures. They kept him overnight just to be safe. Around 7 that evening, one of the officers came by the hospital room. Officer, the woman who pushed your son has been arrested. She's been charged with assault on a minor. We have multiple witnesses who confirmed she deliberately pushed him. The injury itself is evidence of the force she used. Me, what did she say? Officer, she kept insisting she barely touched him and that she was just trying to teach him a lesson about respect. That didn't help her case. Because of the severity and the fact that it involved a child, the charges are serious. My son woke up around 8:30. His head hurt and he was scared, but he was okay. My son, did I do something wrong? Me, no baby. You did nothing wrong. You were just being a kid. Sometimes adults make terrible choices. My son, can I still go swimming? Me, we'll have to wait until the doctor says it's safe. We went home the next day around noon. My co-worker sent flowers and a long text apologizing. She said her sister was facing criminal charges and that she'd personally cover all medical expenses. The bill came to about $3,200. I appreciated the offer, but I told her I needed space. She understood. Over the next few days, the prosecutor's office called. They wanted to make sure I understood the charges and asked if I'd testify if it went to trial. I said I would. My son still loves the pool, but it took him a few days before he wanted to get back in. When he finally did, he seemed okay, but he's careful now around the edges, and that breaks my heart. He shouldn't have to be afraid in his own backyard. His friends came over the following weekend, and they swam together again. I watched them more closely this time. The sister ended up pleading guilty to a lesser charge about 6 weeks later. She got 18 months of probation, 80 hours of community service, and had to pay a fine of $1,500. She also had to cover the medical bills and write a formal apology letter. The letter arrived in the mail about a week after her sentencing. It was typed and felt impersonal. I never responded. My son is doing fine now. The scar is fading and his doctor says there shouldn't be any long-term effects. But I'll never forget the sound of his head hitting that concrete, or the sight of blood in the water. I'll never forget how quickly a good day turned into a nightmare, because one person couldn't handle the sound of children laughing. I grew up thinking family drama was just something that happened on TV. My older sister and I weren't super close, but we got along fine at holidays and birthday parties. Our brother was the middle kid, always easygoing and pretty quiet. He worked construction and kept to himself most of the time. Things started falling apart on a random Tuesday afternoon. I was at work when my phone started blowing up with notifications. My sister had posted something on social media about our brother. I opened it and felt my stomach drop. She was accusing him of something serious, really serious, the kind of thing that ruins lives. She didn't hold back either. She named him directly, listed places he worked, even tagged some of his friends. Then she declared that he was banned from ever seeing her kids again. I called her immediately. Me? What the hell is this? What are you talking about? Her? Don't even start with me. I know what he did. Me? What did he do? Where did you hear this? Her? Someone told me. It doesn't matter who. I'm protecting my children. Me? But did you talk to him? Did you ask anyone if this is even real? Her? I don't need to ask him anything. I already know the truth. She hung up on me. I called our brother next. He sounded confused and hurt. He had no idea what she was talking about. He said there was a guy with the same first name and similar last name who worked in the same industry in a different city. That guy had gotten arrested for something, but it wasn't him. Our brother tried reaching out to our sister. She blocked him. He tried calling from different numbers. She sent him a text threatening to call the police if he contacted her again. Then she started going after the rest of the family. Our parents got an earful about how they were terrible for not immediately disowning him. Our aunts and uncles received long messages about how disappointed she was. Anyone who suggested she might have the wrong person got blocked. About a week later, she sent a group message to everyone in the family. It was basically an ultimatum. She said we all had to choose. Either we cut off our brother completely, or she would cut us off. No middle ground. No compromise. If we wanted a relationship with her or her kids, we had to pretend our brother didn't exist. I stared at that message for a long time. Our brother hadn't done anything wrong. The rumor wasn't even about him, but she was so convinced that she was willing to blow up the entire family over it. None of us agreed to her terms. Our parents refused. Our other siblings refused. I sure as hell wasn't going to abandon our brother over a rumor she wouldn't even fact-check. So she made good on her threat. She blocked everyone on social media, stopped answering calls, didn't show up to our grandmother's 80th birthday party, skipped our cousin's wedding, just completely ghosted the whole family. Honestly, it was kind of peaceful for a while. Nobody was constantly stressed about setting her off. No more angry midnight texts. We just moved on. Then December rolled around. I was helping our mom wrap some presents when I got an email from my sister. The subject line said something about her children and Christmas. I opened it and couldn't believe what I was reading. She was furious that nobody had sent Christmas presents or money to her kids. She wrote this whole dramatic thing about how her children kept asking why their family abandoned them. She called us heartless. She said we were punishing innocent kids for no reason. I read it 3 times trying to make sense of it. This was the same person who had threatened legal action if anyone tried contacting her. The same person who blocked everyone. The same person who said she wanted nothing to do with us. Our cousin replied to her email pretty quickly. She explained that we would have been happy to send presents, but the last time someone tried reaching out, my sister had sent back threats and insults. Our cousin pointed out that my sister had literally said she would call the cops if anyone contacted her. What were we supposed to do? Show up at her door with gifts and risk getting arrested? My sister never responded to that. But a few months later, one of her kids had a birthday, and another email came through. This one was even more condescending. She said she hoped we had learned our lesson from Christmas, like we were children being scolded, like she hadn't been the one who cut everyone off. The absolute worst came about a year after the initial blow-up. She and her husband were between houses for a week. They needed somewhere to stay while their new place got ready. She actually sent our parents a message asking if she could stay with them. Not just her and her husband though, all of them, for an entire week. Oh, and also, could our brother and I move out for that week because she still didn't want him around her kids? And apparently I was guilty by association for not ditching him. Our dad called me laughing when he read it. He genuinely thought it was some kind of joke. But no, she was completely serious. She expected our parents to kick out their own children so she could have a free place to stay after months of silence. Our parents said no. They offered to help with a hotel if money was tight, but they weren't throwing us out of our home. My sister absolutely lost it. She went back to social media and started posting about how her family abandoned her in her time of need. She twisted everything around and made it sound like we had disowned her for no reason. She posted pictures of her kids with captions about how sad they were that their family hated them. People who didn't know the full story left sympathetic comments. It made me physically sick watching her play victim when she had been the one destroying everything. That was over 2 years ago. We still don't talk. Sometimes I see her posting online about family values and loyalty. The irony is completely lost on her. Our brother is doing fine now. He still gets quiet sometimes when someone brings her up, but he's moved on. The rest of the family has too. We still get together for holidays. We still celebrate birthdays. We just do it without her. I don't miss the drama. I don't miss walking on eggshells. And honestly, I don't miss her either. I worked in IT support when everything changed. The company reorganized our department and brought in someone new to manage us. Most people didn't mind. We clocked in, did our work, and went home. Then they posted openings for 3 team lead positions. These weren't small jobs. Each lead would oversee about 10 people out of our 30-person department. Several people applied right away. Good people. The kind who'd been around long enough to know every system we used and had actually led things before. I didn't throw my hat in. I liked my job as it was, but I watched others step up who deserved it. One guy had been with the company 7 years and ran our entire server migration last year by himself. Another woman had trained at least half our department and covered for the previous manager during his medical leave for 3 months. They gave one spot to someone who'd been here 8 months. He came in at entry level, still asked basic questions about our ticketing system, couldn't troubleshoot half our infrastructure without help. But those 8 months, he'd been glued to the new manager's side, always volunteering for projects, staying late not because deadlines demanded it, but because the manager was still in the office. Every minor task he completed got CC'd to management with detailed updates nobody asked for. HR had requirements posted. You needed at least a year with the company, leadership experience. There was a whole list of qualifications. This guy maybe hit 2 out of 10. People complained. Multiple people filed formal complaints with HR. I saw the email chains. Someone even printed the job requirements and highlighted every qualification he didn't meet. HR buried it all. No responses, no explanations. The promotion stood. Before this, people just found him annoying. Tolerated him because you had to work with everyone eventually. After the promotion, everything changed. People would take his assignments and complete them, but that was the extent of interaction. No small talk, no weekend plans discussed. People would finish conversations with him and immediately exchange looks once he walked away. Two people doubled down on sucking up to him. Probably thought they'd get preferential treatment. They'd laugh at jokes that weren't funny, offered to grab coffee, mirror his schedule by staying late when he does. Management must have noticed a cold shoulder because he started trying different tactics, subtly interested in everyone's personal lives, asking about kids when he'd never cared before, trying to force casual conversations in the break room. Then came the email about monthly happy hours, sent to the entire team. He wrote they were optional but strongly encouraged, good for team building. Management liked seeing people be team players. The first one was scheduled for a Friday at 6 in the evening. People panicked immediately. Half my co-workers had kids to pick up. One woman commuted an hour each way. Another guy was taking night classes that started at 7:30. Everyone scrambled to make arrangements, calling family members to watch kids, rescheduling commitments. Someone asked if they could come for just 30 minutes, and he said no. Leaving early would make it awkward for everyone else. I read the email and deleted it. 2 days before the first happy hour, he stopped by my desk. He wanted to confirm I'd gotten his message about Friday. I said yes. He asked if he'd see me there. I said no. He asked if something came up. I said no again. He started explaining how important it was for team cohesion that everyone participated. I reminded him that the email said it was optional. He pushed back, saying they were trying to build a culture where people wanted to be part of the team. Him? We're really trying to create an environment where people feel connected to each other outside work hours. Me? I'm part of the team 40 hours a week. That's what you pay me for. He stood there waiting for me to change my mind. I went back to my monitor. He left. The next day he came back. Said he was thinking maybe I didn't understand these events were kind of expected. Me? Are they required? Him? Not technically, but management notices who shows up. Me? So are they required? Him? They're strongly encouraged. Me? That means optional. Him? I really think you should reconsider. Your performance review is coming up in a few months. It would be good to show you're invested in the team. Me? I know my rights. Hourly employees can't be required to attend unpaid events outside their schedule. If you want me there, keep me on the clock. His face turned red. He walked away without another word. I heard him complaining to one of his followers later that some people just don't get it. Friday came. I left at 5 like normal. Spent the weekend doing what I wanted. Monday morning, everyone looked exhausted. A few people talked about the happy hour, but you could tell they were forcing enthusiasm. One woman told me privately she paid her sister $40 to watch her kids and spent the whole time worried about getting home. Another guy missed his class and had to watch the lecture recording at midnight. During our 10 o'clock stand-up meeting, everyone gathered around. He started with project updates, then shifted topics. Talked about how great Friday was and how nice it was seeing everyone outside the office. That was the kind of team spirit they needed more of. Really builds trust and camaraderie. People nodded. Nobody spoke. Then he mentioned he noticed one person didn't make it. Said he understood some people were more antisocial than others, but management paid attention to who participated in team activities. These weren't optional, he said. Well, they were, but they weren't. We knew what he meant. He looked directly at me when he said it. Said people who care about their careers make time for these things. Everyone else suddenly became very interested in their shoes. The meeting ended. People scattered fast. A few co-workers approached me after. asked if I was going to be okay, said they felt bad they all went. I told them it was fine. They had legitimate reasons to worry about their jobs. I went back to my desk. I opened my email, wrote a message to the entire team. I explained that someone had asked me about the after-work events, so I wanted to share some information with everyone. Cited the specific state statute that said hourly employees couldn't be required to attend work events outside normal schedules without being paid for that time. Made it clear that if anyone couldn't make these happy hours for any reason, they didn't need to worry about it at all. Nobody was obligated to go. Keep it friendly. Just sharing information. No accusations, no drama. Hit send. And within 5 minutes, 3 people replied thanking me. One said she'd been losing sleep over finding childcare every month. Another said he was about to drop his night class. Someone forwarded it to HR. Just a heads up that there might be confusion about policies. HR sent out a clarification email by the end of day. Said all after-work social events were completely voluntary and attendance would not be considered in performance reviews. He didn't reply to anything. The next happy hour came 3 weeks later. Same email, only his 2 closest followers confirmed attendance. I heard he sat at the bar with those 2 for about an hour before they all gave up and went home. He tried to expense the drinks, got denied because there weren't enough attendees to qualify as a team event. Third happy hour, same pattern. He sent the invite. Nobody responded. He followed up asking if people had received it. One person said they had a conflict. Another said they'd try to make it but didn't show. The invites kept coming but nobody went. He stopped mentioning them in meetings, started sending passive-aggressive emails about team engagement instead. Eventually, the monthly happy hours just stopped happening. He tried other approaches. Brought in donuts once. Nobody thanked him. A few people took one, but nobody stuck around to chat like he clearly wanted. Started a team chat for non-work stuff. It stayed silent for 3 weeks until someone accidentally posted a work question there. Tried organizing a volunteer day on a Saturday. Nobody signed up. Even suggested a team lunch during work hours. People said they were too busy. 6 months later, they restructured again. He got moved to a different team. They called it a lateral move. Everyone knew what it meant. He tried the same happy hour approach with his new team. I heard it didn't go any better. The woman, who should have gotten the position in the first place, finally got promoted. The one who trained half the department. The first thing she did was send out a survey asking what the team actually wanted. Turns out nobody wanted mandatory fun. They wanted flexible start times for people with kids, the option to work from home 1 day a week. Their actual concerns were addressed. She made those changes within a month. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.